Hi, we're Vista. Our goal with this prototype is to address the inefficiencies that the current method of expense reporting for business trips creates. The two main problems we identified to solve include seeking to reduce the total amount of time spent logging expenses and to prevent users unknowingly opting into expenses that would not be covered by their company. We did this by creating an interface that allows users to make informed spending decisions by integrating with their company trip policies while automatically recording these expenses and handling the payment process so that the money never leaves the wallet of the user and is pulled from the company instead. Let's jump into a currently ongoing trip and see how this all works. This is the current trip screen. This is your dashboard that contains all the expenditure information the user would need in one place. The two big things to notice here are first, the total trip expenditure, which tracks total approved expenses as well as how much the user is currently paying out of pocket for non-approved expenses. And second, the trip expense log, which contains an overview of every logged expense, including the name, date, amount, and status of the expense using color-coordinated symbols, which can be explained here in this dropdown. These signifiers help the user see the status of these expenditures at a glance without the need for further probing. Additionally, you'll notice that the colors associated for a good, bad, and pending event are repeated throughout the rest of our prototype. Before we probe into the expense breakdowns, you'll notice at the bottom of the trip expense log, users can choose to view the formal policies set by their company. These policies are written in easy-to-read English using the same helpful colors to boost readability and understanding. Looking at an expense, the user can clearly see all the relevant details, including the name, date, cost, individual items, whether or not the vendor was approved, and if they're still waiting on being reimbursed. I'll quickly show you two other types of expenses. Transit expenses, which include a map of your route with additional ride details, and manual entries, which we'll talk more about next. Utilizing the helpful tab navigation bar, let's look at manual entry. Here, users can scan a receipt for a fast and accurate way of logging an expense where there will be a digital representation of their purchase, so they don't have to worry about losing the physical one. Or they can manually log an expense by hand in as much detail as they choose with the option to itemize it. Next, let's look at dining. Here, users can search for a location by name or see nearby suggestions. Users can either order takeout or opt to eat in. The general process is the same in terms of ordering, with only one additional step for eating in. Once a location is chosen, the user would order like they would with any other mobile ordering service. You'll see that there's a filter that can toggle the view to include items that can't be expensed. This ensures that the user still has full control over their dining experience, but also gives them the insight necessary to order within their company's guidelines. Prior to checkout, they can review their order, and once it's placed, they will receive a QR code and digital code to give to their server. The transportation page allows the user to quickly travel between approved locations by their company, such as to their hotel or their office, in a straightforward process. Additionally, users can call a ride to other locations within the app to have them be manually reviewed later. Upon completion of a trip, the full expense report will be generated, which can be found on the travel history page. Here, users can view their past trips and their accompanying expenditures, plus the status of being reimbursed. Clicking into a completed trip would yield a screen similar to a current trip screen, only expenses can't be edited. And that is Vista.